Alright, so I have all the flowers down on mine. I used the little white blossoms that I used the Tim Holtz Seedless Grape, and I colored those to give some purple inside there. And then the same thing as before. Got apple blossoms, baby blossoms, and a couple of different roses. So for our next page, I have my background page, and I'm going to cut it down 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. Alright, now grab your colored cardstock, and we need, let's see, 5 4x6. So I'm going to start on the 6-inch side. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to pan back out. Alright. So we need 5 that are 4x6. And I need one more. Okay, and for my white cardstock, I need one that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then I want 2 that is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So 2 that are 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so grab these 2 and grab your scoreboard. Now I've got it on the 4 3/4, and we want to score at 1/2 inch. So 4 3/4, score at 1/2 inch. And set that one aside. Okay, so I'm going to grab my purple cardstock and cut down my corners with my Deco Punch. Then my 2 with our flaps, I'm going to cut down the 2 corners opposite of the flaps. Then the smallest one, I'm going to go ahead and do all 4 corners. Now we'll start gluing down our purple. So the one where all 4 corners, we just need to put down one side. I changed the cutter on my paper cutter and it's still leaving a rough edge. I'm starting to think it's the paper itself. Alright, now our 2 with our flaps. We're going to cover both sides. Looks like I got a really bad cut on this end for some reason. Try and clean that up real quick. You go ahead and add yours. I don't know what's going on with that paper cutter. Alright, on to the next one. There we are. Okay, so our one without the tabs is going to go straight down, and then we're going to have one that flips up, and one that flips down. So I'm just trying to decide if I want to see how we want to do this here. I was thinking about putting them all directly on top. But I prefer the offset. Yeah, I like it that way. Okay, this is the one without the tabs. Alright, we're going to measure down from the top of our cardstock. I want 2 inches for spacing, and then from left to right, 1 7/8 should put it centered. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. 2 inches. Okay. My apologies. 1.5 inches from the top of the cardstock to the photo mat. 1.5 inches, and then 1 7/8 on each side. It should be centered. So 1.5 from the top. And I'm just going to make a little mark right here so I'll know where to put it after I get my glue on the back of it. Alright, and erase my little marks I made. Okay, for our top one, I want you to bring the bottom of your tab all the way to the top of the white on the cardstock. Just butt it up right against it. And then I want 0.75, so 3/4 of an inch from the right hand side of the cardstock. So go ahead and draw that line. And grab your cutting mat and your knife. I'm doing mine upside down again. Alright, I'm going to erase that line we just made. Pencil mark. And check it and see how it fits. I'm going to cut my tab corners. Looks like mine's going to fit just fine. Hold on before we glue that down. Let's grab some ribbon. And we're going to go with 10 inches again. And while you got it out, go ahead and cut 2 pieces at 10 inches. Crinkle it up a little bit. Alright. Okay. So what I'm going to do is measure from the left end of your photo mat, go in 3 inches, and I'm just going to make a little mark, and that's where I want to put my ribbon. So I'm going to put some glue on that mark, and just put that ribbon right on top of there. Right. Getting glue all over the place. There. Now we have that one adhered. Now I'll go ahead and put it back into your little cut you made. And we'll flip it over and glue that one down. Alright, let's take our next one. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put the bottom of our tab all the way up to the bottom of this center photo mat, and let's see how far we want it in. And do 3/4 of an inch from the left side of the cardstock to the photo mat. Now go ahead and trace that mark out. Yeah. And I'm going to cut that one. Erase my line, and then I'll see how it fits after I cut the magnets. Cut and taper my flaps. Well, it looks like I got some pencil mark on here, so I'm going to erase that real quick. Alright, mine fits. So we're going to add ribbon again. Okay. So measure from your left part down 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to make a little mark on my flap, and that's where we're going to put our next piece of seam binding ribbon. So So I'm going to put some glue. There we go. Oops. So I'm going to put this, and you want to make sure that your ribbon is fairly even with the ribbon on the top when we place it. So it's going to be like that. So let's flip it over, and we're going to glue that one down. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in my album. And then we can decorate it. And we're almost to the end. I know this video is long. I think we spent most of our time creating the binding than making the actual pages. See how it fits before I decide to. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. So let's add our glue and make sure you get really well around their cuts. All right. Make sure you get that adhered well. I am going to go ahead and add my flowers. I'm going to run them along the bottom here. And you go ahead and work on yours, and we will meet back up in a few minutes. Alright, so I have my flowers set in place, and then in the center here I use some more of the Poppies and Papery by the Paper Studio. But it was a little bit darker than what I preferred, so I have some white gesso that I use on my mixed media canvas, and I got a dry brush and I just kind of lightly adding it to the edges to kind of tone down that dark purple a little bit. I don't want to put too much, but always don't be afraid to change your flowers. Of course, you know, throughout I've had those gold centers, and I've torn those apart. So let's go ahead and finish gluing. Close my paint before it dries out. Let's go ahead and finish gluing these down. I have my ribbon behind it, weaved around. I already got that one glued down, and I have some leaves. I think they're from I Am Roses. And we're just going to tuck those around here. I know previously I had showed y'all where I was using some pearl roses, and I ended up not liking the look, so I pulled them all off, and then I changed them out with these green ones. Let's see how I had that. I can't remember how I had it. I should have took a picture. But we'll go ahead, we'll just go through it real quick. Then I found these little guys, because I'm running out of purple flowers. And it's the same thing. I get these from Hobby Lobby. All these, the Paper Studio, Poppies and Papery. Put them down here. Even though I really can't. Oh, I had the little yellow ones there, didn't I? Well, we gonna make something new. I'm just moving it around, trying different places, since I can't remember where I had them before I took them all off. I'm going to go with that one. I know I haven't showed me putting flowers on all the pages. I know this tutorial is a little bit long as it is, but I did want to do some of them just to give you an idea. Let's see if we can do a butterfly on this one. It seems too bunched up. I need to go, in my mind, I need to go further out with it. Let me grab some of the baby blossoms and I think that'll look better. Just try and draw it out. Yeah, let's put these guys on here. See which one I like best. Just trial and error. Trial and error. Got on the opposite page, I've got it right there. So this page, we're going to put it down right there. And there we are. So I'm going to add, I've got a few more of my Say It With Crystals. So I'm going to add a couple. Put one in this top corner. Yeah, we'll put it in this area here. Now I've got these little glue strings everywhere. I want to show you a little trick with that. If you have a heating tool, you can just take and run it across there. And it will melt all those little hot glue strings really quick. And you don't have to go over it a lot because we don't want to heat it up too much, just enough to get rid of those little glue strings. Oh, okay, another page finished. And now we need to start on, we just have our last page and our back cover, and then we will be finished. So let me get that together and we will get it done as soon as possible. Alright, so I did end up going back and changing that center flower. I ended up not, after looking at it for a little while, I didn't care for it much. So I went ahead and changed it. And now we are ready to move on to our next page. So I have the cardstock that I'm going to use. And we're going to start by cutting it down 9 7/8 by 9 7/8. So we have that. Now grab your colored cardstock, and we need 11 4x6. So there's one. Start cutting the 6-inch side. I have a lot of leftover purple cardstock to find something to do with after this. It's the only bad thing about crafting is trying to find out what to do with all the little cardstock and chipboard. This, you probably can tell after cutting all of the pages in this one, you have a stack of chipboard. One, two, three, four, 5. 6, 7, and I hope you're cutting yours while I'm getting all of mine cut. I did think about when doing this tutorial to just cut everything and give y'all the sizes and try and make it a little bit shorter, but I wanted to go with it, through it with you step by step. So I hope y'all are working along with me and we're not losing a lot of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need 2 more. And 11. Now grab your white cardstock, and I want to start out, we need 1 each that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I'm going to start by cutting the 6 1/4. By 4 1/4. And now we need 5 that are 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So again, that is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. And I'm losing my voice, guys. I apologize for that. Alright, so I need 2 more. Okay, when you get yours done, we'll set aside your cutting board and grab your scoreboard. And then we're going to take all the 5 that we just did. We are going to put it on the 4 3/4, and we want to score it at 1/2 inch. And do that to all 5. All right. We have all of those. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners on my purple sheets, and then we will start laying those down. And I don't know what I do with, oh, here it is. And again, I'm using the Deco edge. Alright, so just grab our glue and start gluing these down. I forgot to cut my corners. We're only cutting the, just as before, and the flap here, and I just want to cut the 2 corners that are opposite from the flap. And we want to do that with all of them. And then our smaller one, the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, that it has no flap on it, we're going to do all 4 corners. Alright, let me get back to gluing those down. I'm going to go ahead and go through these last 2 pages as quickly as possible for you. I know this video seems to be getting pretty long. The construction of the album, which I know I've already mentioned it, it takes the most time. The pages aren't so bad. I tried to make it a little bit easier with them all being 4x6. And I actually prefer doing the video tutorial rather than a PDF, because I personally have purchased PDF tutorials and they've been very, very good. Pictures, everything, but still just watching someone do it seems to resonate a lot better than reading it. And I hope you feel the same way. Okay, we are almost there. Now we're going to take our smaller piece without the tab and we're going to put this last one down. Okay, so what I have planned for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to use 3 of our flaps and our one without the flap on this page. Take the 2 extra ones with the flaps that you have and just set them aside, and we're going to use that on the next page, which will be our last page. And what I want to do is we're going to have one centered down, then we're going to put one over the top, one from the bottom, then this one is going to go up like this. Right. Alright, so I took a break, got my voice back, thought about this whole layout some, and we are going to do this scenario here. We've got a side flap, and then 2 upper flaps, and then our one at the bottom. So let's go ahead and put this one down first. See. Okay, so we're going to go 3 inches from the top of the cardstock to the top of your photo mat. We want to go down 3 inches. And then from the left of the cardstock to the photo mat, we're going to go 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take my pencil and just make a little mark, and then glue that one down. Put it back down on the marks that I made. Okay, now the same as before, we are going to take our next with the flap. We're going to put this flap all the way up against the one we just put down. Make sure it's even on the sides, and then take your pencil and make a line. And then we're going to cut that one out. Alright, so erase my line. And I'm going to cut the corners on my tabs. And then see how it fits. And it fits perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that over and glue it down. And we're going to do the same thing with the next one. Bring it all the way up to the photo mat we just put down. Draw my line and then cut that one out. Cut my tabs. then flip it over and glue it down. Alright, now for our side one, we're going to do a 1/2 inch from the top. So a 1/2 inch from the top of your paper to the top of your photo mat. And then also a 1/2 inch on the right, from the right of the paper, to your photo mat. We want that one to be a 1/2 inch also. And take your pencil and mark that line. And then we'll cut that one out. And see how that one fits. Okay, mine fits good, so I'm going to glue that one down. On this one, excuse me, we're going to do a little swing tab. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my little, tell you what, let me see if I have any more of that little butterfly paper we use. Let's go through my scraps real quick. There we go. I'm going to use this. So I'm going to cut, well, let's see, hold on. Think about doing a 1 inch. Actually, if I do a little square, yeah, let me try 1 by 1 and see how that turns out. I'm going to get this cute little butterfly in it, so I'll cut around them. There we are, one by one, little butterfly. And I need to, it's a little bit too flimsy. So I'm going to take my purple and put around it. So I'm just going to glue it down and then cut with about a 1/16 of an inch around the edges. There we are. That feels better. So I'm going to put him to where he kind of, I'm going to put him to where he covers both this side and this side. See what, I got a little hole punch. Let me use it before I end up messing my paper up. There we go. I'll just take my pencil after I get it where I want it to be. Put a little mark there. Well, there we go. I'm spilling them everywhere. All right. Just put a little bit of glue around it. Now this one is ready to put in our album, and then we will decorate it with our embellishments. Put this thing up before I end up cutting my finger off. Alright, second to last page. I'll make sure I put a lot of glue around my cuts. Almost there. Okay. fits just perfectly. Just make sure all those cuts get adhered down well. Okay, I am going to put my flowers down at the bottom, and then we will start working on our last page. Alright, so I have all my flowers that I wanted to put down, and then I added my last little butterfly. It's the same flowers that I've been using throughout, except for just yesterday I picked up these little purple roses from Michael's. So now we are going to start on our last page.